Hey guys, Martinkin here, bringing up Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so we know from the update of the new Celebration Summertime campaign that we are finally getting another world tournament. It's been a while since we had the previous one. I think it's like over 3 months, which I know some people, I'm sure you're not particularly bothered that it hasn't been so long. Maybe wish it could be longer. We always joke about it being everyone's favorite game mode because it is definitely one of the weirdest modes in the game in terms of how it compares to the whole of the rest of the game, right? This is something I've talked about a lot in detail in the past. Dokkan is a mobile game. A lot of people only play this game for 20 minutes, maybe an hour every day. Obviously there are some people that will play a bit more, especially when new content drops, but this is a game mode that essentially requires you to play for hours a day if you want to achieve the highest scores. I mean, obviously if you want to get into the actual highest brackets, like being in the top 3 and all that, those people play basically non-stop all weekend, getting maybe like an hour or 2 of sleep a night, which is insane. But remember that you do get some pretty good rewards from the World Tournament. Even somebody like me, who I do grind because I do my big World Tournament stream weekends, which we will be doing starting from Saturday. I already have plans to be away on Friday before they announced the World Tournament, but we will be doing a long stream on Saturday and Sunday with the subathon style. And so that will be, if we hit all the goals and everything, in total will end up being at least 16 hours of World Tournament grinding. So don't worry, there will be plenty of that going on over the weekend. Always fun to do because it's one of those things, if you're grinding the weekend World Tournament, it's nice to have a stream to go to hang out and chat with other people that are doing the same. So anyway, we are going to talk about what we can expect with this World Tournament in terms of the Awakenings and the EZAs. We should get the data download tomorrow. I think at the earliest it might be Thursday where we will see the details, because obviously the World Tournament starts first thing on Friday morning UK time on global, or late Thursday evening. So the World Tournament, the data download has to be before that, because all of this World Tournament stuff wasn't in the previous data download, right? Now you can see from the banner, the 59th World Tournament, the Grandpa Gohan is still the LR reward for the local ranking brackets. This will be the final World Tournament where he will be the reward, and then the next one will be a new unit. So suffice to say, this one probably will be pretty chill in terms of grinding. A lot of the time when a new LR comes out, people grind because they want to get the 2 copies straight away of the new unit, but I think the last World Tournament was pretty quiet overall. But we can also see the Annin Caulifla SSR on there, which means that she will be one of the units that gets the EZAs. We will go over those here in a moment. And then we have the DB Saga banner, which of course you get the tickets to summon on, and Annin will be able to be Extreme Z awakened. We'll look at her in a minute as well. Guaranteed SSRs, obviously the banner have Kale and Caulifla, and it even mentions that they can be Extreme Z awakened. And then obviously there's the guaranteed SSR banner and all that kind of stuff. So what can we expect from these units that are going to EZA? So if we take a look at the Caulifla, infinite stacker, lowers attack, has base effects, 100% attack and defense, gets extra attack and defense per universe 6 ally on the team, as well as extra crit chance. When there's an ally whose name includes Kale, she gets extra attack, 70% chance to dodge, and a guaranteed additional super. For every attack evaded, she builds up attack and defense, and then after performing 6 or more attacks, gets a guaranteed additional with a high chance to become a super. And then Kale, I think, is very similar, but just the other way around, right? So she's stacking attack and defense. Universe 6 allies get support. Actually, no, she is quite different. She gives support. Universe 6 allies and Pure Saiyans allies. So obviously Universe 6 Pure Saiyans are getting 60% support from Kale, which is actually pretty nice. When there's a Caulifla in the same turn, she gets extra defense instead of attack, has a great chance to guard, and then launches an additional super guaranteed. And when attacking with 12 or more ki, gets attack and defense 60%. And then after launching 6 or more attacks, they can be normal attacks, gets an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. So actually, when you look at these, I think the Kale is actually probably slightly better As long as you've got a Caulifla. Obviously they need the other one around to get their full passives, but I think Kale has a lot of really good potential for her EZA, because when there's an ally whose name includes Caulifla in the same turn, that's a pretty specific restriction. So with an EZA, I could very much see them just giving her guaranteed guard when there's a Caulifla in the same turn, and then maybe if you have, like, if they really want to make her even better, if there's a Universe 6 ally, or even crazier, a Pure Saiyan ally on the team, then she has a chance to guard. But with a Caulifla, it's guaranteed. Like, that would obviously be very, very good. The support is already very good, so bumping up the stats a little bit, very good. Something that I think would be quite good as well, actually, is whether they make the guard permanent just in general or with the Caulifla. Also maybe add in some damage reduction, whether that's also conditional on a Caulifla or a Universe 6 character, that's fine. That's the thing I've said many times in the past, I don't mind characters having abilities locked behind conditions as long as they're not really stupid. Like for Kale, having damage reduction if there's a Universe 6 ally, for example, is a perfectly fine restriction, because you're pretty much always only ever going to be running her with at least one Universe 6 ally, usually a Caulifla, because those characters are designed to get buffs off of each other. Like almost every Kale and Caulifla gets buffs off of the other one, right? So something like that would be very, very good. But the support definitely seems like a very nice, like she could be quite good. We have the LR Kale and Caulifla team that released during the Golden Week celebration, of course. This unit would be super, super good on that team with an EZA. So I have hopefully some, I say hopefully she'll be good. I have high hopes, but then at the same time I don't, because World Tournament always, EZAs are always really hit or miss. Caulifla I think is probably in the worst spot. Maybe if she gets higher dodge chance, but like she very much is just going to be dodge or die. Even if they give her a bunch of extra raw defense, she will pretty much be dodge or die. I mean, if they give her a bunch of extra attack, maybe like crit with a Kale as well as the additional, like, then she could be the one that does a ton of damage, but then she'll be completely relying on the dodge. Whereas obviously Kale, being a support unit but also actually having decent defensive capabilities, makes her a unit that will probably age a little bit better as we get into more difficult content. But saying that, with the difficulty of the content we have now, even just giving her like permanent guard and some higher stats probably isn't quite enough. I mean, she'd still be a good floating support unit for the team, but yeah, maybe throwing some damage reduction in there, or, you know, if they made their super attack greatly raise attack and defense as a stack, that would be very cool as well. So let me know what you guys want to see from Kale and Caulifla. There's definitely some potential there. It's funny that obviously these guys are super bosses, but we talked about how super bosses is kind of in a weird spot with the GDC. Like, these guys aren't really a buff to the team because that team mostly wants to be extreme. Like, obviously Kale wouldn't be supporting anyone on that team, so a little bit of a weird one. And then we have Annin from the DB Saga banner. Now this one's interesting because she is a giant form character, but her giant form is HP related. So when HP is 60% or less, high chance of turning into the giant form. Now I think what would be good for this is just to make this guaranteed below a certain amount of HP. Maybe you could do 60% or less, great chance, or high chance could be the same, but then like 40% or less, or maybe put this up to like 70% or less, it's a high chance, and then like 50% or less, it's just guaranteed, right? Because then you could potentially get it out in a clutch moment. But she's got some basic stats. She recovers HP at the start of the turn, which is always good. She gives support to Peppy Gal's Realm of Gods and Giant Form. So in theory, like, she could be splashed onto any of these teams if they actually made her good enough to be a support. Then she gets stats when attacking, and she gets extra stats if your HP is 60% or more at the start of the turn. So obviously this is meant to coincide with the transformation, so I guess this would go up to 70% as well if the transformation one was going to. She's kind of in a weird spot because of the character and who she is, or from the OG Dragon Ball. Like, she's on the Innocence, she's got Innocence, Transform, Infighter, Battlefield Diva, and then of course Incredible Adventure Guidance of the Dragon Balls. So she's kind of in a weird spot. She's on Peppy Gal's Realm of Gods and Giant Form. So in terms of current meta teams, like, Giant Form actually isn't really a team. When I read this and said about splashing into teams, my brain just completely mistook Giant Form for Giant 8 Power. So really, like, the Giant Form team basically just doesn't exist. Realm of Gods isn't really a team at the moment. Like, we need a proper good new 220 Realm of Gods leader. And then obviously Peppy Gals, we've gotten some buffs like with this celebration, but we don't have a good like proper leader. So unfortunately she does actually kind of seem, even if her EZA is good, she's going to be a unit that ends up very much like the Fasha and Chi-Light EZAs, where they don't really have a true home unless a really good new unit comes out. Because then obviously, like, you know, if we get a new Realm of Gods leader, then she could be a support unit on that team potentially, because her kit outside of the transformation is pretty bare bones. Like if they gave her some kind of conditional guard or defense when receiving a hit or something, she could potentially be quite good. And then of course she does have the giant form, which does give key +3, so she does at least have one of those ones that makes it a little bit easier to super. But they obviously, these always change to like, they up the modifiers and everything, maybe like massively raise attack temporarily, and then kit could be like key 3 and like guaranteed crit or something. Because, you know, the giant form, she could still have use because of the giant form. If they make it so that one of the conditions, like I said, if they add in a lower HP condition, which is guaranteed, then she could be useful in some situations where you're going into the turn on low HP, she gets a guaranteed transformation, cancels out the supers, and then you float her off and you don't have to worry about her eating a super in slot 3. So as long as she's good enough defensively that post-supering she can tank normals, then she should be perfectly fine, right? And then the other question is, will there be a character that awakens? Because they're not shown anywhere on the art, but I went back and looked through the list of World Tournament rewards on the wiki to find the newest one that doesn't have an awakening. Sorry, the oldest one that doesn't have an awakening. Which is this Int Trunks from the BoJack movie, because the World Tournament card released before this guy was the Tech Frieza, Mecha Frieza, who awakened last time. So this guy should be getting a TUR awakening, and he could be quite interesting on Movie Heroes if we get a sort of revamp for that team, because he has a chance to stun as part of his passive, which I know is not super useful in a lot of events now, but he creates rainbow orbs, he has built-in dodge, and then he supports Movie Heroes. So when he's awakened into a TUR, one of the things we've seen quite a lot is that they get a secondary category that is like 20% and then 10%. So it's like 40-20 if those characters are on both, which is pretty good. Medium chance to dodge, obviously, ideally would go up to at least high, but hopefully great. And then more stats, changes the rainbow orbs, maybe give him a condition where if he picks up, or like per rainbow orb, he gets a little bit of like damage reduction or something. That would make him a really good floating support. Imagine if he gets like, you know, something like, I don't want to go too crazy because we have to bear in mind expectations for these free-to-play World Tournament cards. Maybe imagine if it was like 7% damage reduction per rainbow keysphere obtained. Because then on average with an orb changer, you're usually getting maybe like 3. So you'd have 21% damage reduction as well as a bit of dodge. I think that would be pretty cool. He just does supreme damage with the stun chance, so obviously give him like greatly raised attack and defense or something would be good, even if it's just for the one turn. But links wise, he is in a bit of a weird spot because he is a base Trunks. So he's Messenger from the Future, Saiyan Lineage, Cold Judgment, Royal Lineage, Z Fighters, Dismal Future, and then he would get Shattering the Limit. So links wise, he wouldn't be super great for some of the teams that he's on. Cold Judgment obviously is a good link for the extra 25% defense at level 10. But yeah, this guy should be getting a full TUR awakening, which of course means a new art. Hopefully his awakening will be good. The Mecha Frieza was actually pretty good if Wicked Bloodline actually had like a current meta team. And I guess that's the problem with some of these characters, because Movie Heroes doesn't really have a full meta team. I mean, obviously the 7-year gods are still really good, so you can still run a double leads team of them, but you're largely running like Power Beyond Super Saiyan characters. The physical trio from the worldwide celebration, a little bit outdated now, and this guy does change physical orbs, which could be kind of awkward for them sometimes, but this guy has potential, and I know he's kind of like a fan favorite version of Trunks, like the buff, like long hair tank top Trunks. So yeah, this guy should be TUR awakening. I'm interested to see what the new art's going to be and everything, whether he gets a nice little updated super attack. Now the thing is, when it comes to expectations, I mentioned before, one thing I do want to say is that we just had the GDC where they gave us the full free-to-play clone team, which that team, even if it requires items for some of the harder ones, that team can basically beat all of the events in the game. Like those free-to-play units, each of the clones, they're all really good. So honestly, at this point, especially with the World Tournament cards, we've talked about them in the past, how they're very limited. Like, not everyone's going to have all of them. Not everyone's going to have them all rainbowed. Like, they should be making these units good. There's no reason for them to not be good. Like, it's not going to break the game if this guy becomes like a must-run movie hero support character, right? So hopefully, with how good the free-to-play units have been throughout the entire GDC, you know, we got the clones, we got the Zamasu Goku, we got the Nova. Like, hopefully these guys are good, because this guy's going to awaken into a TUR, obviously not have his EZA yet, but then we've got these 3 EZAs. And I mean, these guys could have the really good potential. Like, Tech Caulifla obviously still gets used a lot because she has that guaranteed dodge against certain enemies. But STR Kale, even with her EZA, is kind of outdated now. But these guys could end up becoming the best base form versions, especially this one. I mean, Tech Caulifla will always be crazy against Universe Survival Saga or Pure Saiyans, but this could easily be the best base Kale in the game if her EZA is good. And then obviously this could be the best base Caulifla if you're not fighting a Pure Saiyan or Universe Survival Saga. So the potential is there, and they've shown they do know how to make good free-to-play units. So hopefully they just actually do that again, but we will have to wait and see. Of course, when the data download happens, I will give you guys a full breakdown and my thoughts, but let me know what you guys think of the World Tournament. Are you planning to play? Are you skipping? Is it what you always do? Like, let me know your thoughts on the World Tournament and all these awakenings and EZAs down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.